Hey, it's Joel. We're here at Maker Faire, but not any other Maker Faire I've been to before. We're in Prague for Maker Faire. I want to tell you all about it and show you some really cool stuff, and we're going to do it right here on 3D Printing Nerd. At Prague Maker Faire, you can see anything out of the ordinary, of course, and one of those things is glass-blown engines. Hi, Alice.
Hello.
And hi, John.
Hi.
These are wonderful, and I can't even begin to think how you would go about making this. What is the process?
Well, the process is really long, and it was preceded by on the paper, because the scheme has to be made before you can begin with the actual work with the glass. So the building block is those little pipes over there, the tubes. Oh, those are the building blocks. So you can have this wide or this wide, and then you have to measure everything, and you have to mold everything in a fire and put it together. But before that, you need to know how big, how long, how wide, and then there is another thing. For it to move, you have to do the valves and everything, and John will tell you about that.
That's what I was wondering about. So usually if I think of someone blowing glass, I don't think of precision. How do you get it precise enough to have valves to be able to work in this?
As Alice told you, the glass pipes you can see over there, those are supplied to us with many diameters. We just pick two most...
The one that fit the best.
One that fit the best. Then you have to brush it from outside for this one, the inner one, from inside for this outer layer, for the cylinder. And then you have to create like 50 of those. And which fits the best, you use this one. Yeah. Then
okay.
You just have to brush it some more, and we are there.
So it's brushed with the diamond dust until precision, and there is only 0.006 millimeter.
No, actually 0.06 millimeters.
Sorry, between those two pieces, so it doesn't even need to be greased.
No grease at all?
No.
Grease at all.
I mean, we have one in here because if you brush it, then it goes matte, and you cannot really see inside, like you see in here.
Oh, okay. I see.
So that's why we put an oil in, so you can easily see it, how it works. But it doesn't need it. As you can see, it works just fine without it.
This is amazing. I mean, there's cool fire and all sorts of glass blowing, and that springy thing over there, and then these glass engines, a glass motorcycle, and a pig on a spit.
Yeah, pig. So we are actually showing that the motor can do work. We show the work by turning the pig. So this is actually a working engine.
This is amazing. This is so cool. If someone wanted more information, what would be the best way to find it?
www.sklozam.cz.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to take this with me.
Yeah,
so
of
I
course.
remember, and we'll put a link down in the description. John, Alice, thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
This is amazing. Prague Maker Faire wouldn't be complete without some incredible cosplay, and I've got my friend Germia here. Hey.
Hello, nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you as well. We have some foam fabrication, we have some 3D printing in the back, but let's talk about this first. This is foam, right?
Yeah, it's all foam. Some details are also 3D printed, like those things, those small things here. And some details, like the gloves, are from Warblum, but mainly it's foam.
How long did it take for you to make this?
I worked on it for 1 year, but I had some breaks for another project, so I would say like 3 to 4 months of work.
It looks incredible. One of the things that I thought was interesting was the rust. We were talking about that earlier. Can you go over that?
Yeah, it's like acrylic gel medium with sand mixed together and then painted with acrylic colors. The big advantage it has is that it's really flexible as well as the foam, so you can like push it, and it's like, if you see, like, you can push everything however you want, and it doesn't fall off or crack. So that's the main advantage of this.
That's perfect because what's great about foam is you can paint it to look like any medium, but then adding that sand in there is going to actually enhance the look of the medium, and this being a rusty metal, it's perfect.
Yeah, it actually pops out, and the rust looks also very convincing from up close.
So this isn't your only object here at your table. I know you have, let's see, you said this was resin casted, right?
Yeah, I made the fish. It's fish from Subnautica, and I made it like from monster clay. And then I made silicone mold and casted it with resin. And under it, there is a transparent 3D printed gemstone. So yeah,
just as a mount for it, right?
Yeah,
for it to kind of sit in.
Yeah. You can actually put a tea light inside, and it will shine up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I just modeled a cavity for it, and it looks really amazing in the dark.
Oh, I bet that looks well. It looks wonderful in the light. I mean, in the dark, it would even be cooler with a glowing candle in there.
Thank you so much.
So last though, you do have this, and I want to bring this up. So you hold on to that.
Like also 3D printed. It's a box actually. Yeah, it's like the most awesome thing about 3D printing community is that a lot of models you can get for free, and this one was for free, and I just wanted to try to make the weathered look for a friend of mine who is like a big Fallout fan, and I think it went quite right, so
It looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. Very happy about the outcome.
I think that's great too. I'm trying to do more finishing of 3D prints where I'm after printing and I'm like, well, can I paint this or polish it or do something? And this is something that I would love to be able to do. How long did it take you to weather this?
It actually took like a few hours. I made it online on my live stream on Twitch, and the like most important thing about the finishing of the prints is like sand it, use a filler, and sand it again, and you know that drill.
I know that drill too well.
I use Chameleon thick layer filler if you're interested, and I really love the material. So.
It looks fantastic. Before we end this, though, I want to know, because this is a 3D printing channel here, what machine did you use to print this?
I have Prusa. It's Y3MK2S, and I would love to improve to MK3.
How would people find you if they wanted to learn more about what you do?
Actually, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, I'm on Twitch and Twitter, and you can find me under .Germia or .Germia. And everywhere it's the same. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for letting us stop by. Have a great rest of the Maker Faire.
Thank you so much. Have a great time on Joel's channel. I watch him and I really love his videos. So thank you.
You're my favorite.
High five.
I'm here at Prague Maker Faire, of course, and I'm here with my buddy Jinrich. Hey, Jinrich.
Hey there.
I've learned that Jinrich works at Prusa HQ, of course, but he's also an avid maker, and this table behind him is full of everything he's created. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure. All of this was made in my free time, of course, the modeling. One of the biggest things I ever made, or actually the biggest thing I ever made, is the Thanos sword from the latest Avengers.
It's huge. I can see it over there.
It is. I hope it's about a life size. It's 3 meters long, which might be life size. I'm not sure, but I just hope it is.
It's big enough for Thanos to hold.
Yeah, it should be. It should be fine for him.
So can you describe the modeling process for this? What apps did you use, or what program did you use to make it?
The modeling itself was rather easy. It was just a couple of hours in Fusion 360, and the printing was more bigger of a task. Well, it took about 300 hours.
300?
Yeah, 300 hours. But luckily it's a bit heavy. It's got a plumbing pipe running all through it.
Can you go grab it?
Sure, no problem.
That is crazy.
That's it. Thanks. So it's about 7 or 8 kilos heavy, so that's double amount in pounds approximately.
How many rolls of filament did this take?
About 6 to 8 approximately, or most of it Prusa meant, of course.
Printed on Prusa Mark III?
Yes, Mark 3s and 3Ss.
Okay. And was this the Prusament or was this another brand?
Well, most of it is Prusament, the blades and the black parts is Prusament. Only thing, this is a color fab. Prusa doesn't have a gold color yet, so maybe next time.
Yet. May I hold it?
Sure.
See if I can do this. This is heavy. This is legit heavy. Like I don't see how Thanos could actually fight with this, right? Although he would be taller than me. Wow, and it's sturdy too. You would think there'd be some flex in the middle of the handle, but there's nothing. I don't want to smack a small child. I'll give this back to you.
Well, this is a steel pipe. That's why it's so sturdy.
Yeah, so if you accidentally hit a kid, you really hit a kid accidentally.
Yeah, there will be no kid afterwards.
Well, thank you for showing me this, and I really hope your booth and your table is busy here at the rest of Maker Faire. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good one too.
While at Prague Maker Faire, this printer caught my eye. It's large, it's different, and it's customized. We're going to talk to Helena about this. Hi, Helena.
Hi.
Tell me a little bit about this big machine you've created.
Well, we created this big machine because we wanted to make a bigger printer than is a normal size to print the bigger things. And well, I decided to build it with my father, who made the main job in this. And we inspired in Thingiverse, where was a version Hypercube, and we took this version and customized it for our needs. We took all the pieces and think about also the technical solution.
Well, what really I noticed about this was you said a Hypercube, right? But that's a Prusa extruder, right?
Yes. This is a Prusa extruder. We also follow the progress of Prusa because he do a really good job, and what we did that we took a Prusa extruder, but we also customized it for our needs. That you can like easily change it, so you can take out the leads, this part, and we can change the extruder for different one if something goes wrong.
Wow, that's cool. So instead of having to fully disassemble the machine, if you want to change out the extruder head, you can undo a few bolts and the rails come out, or the rods come out, right? And you're able to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we were changing it right now because the extruder were stuck. So we change it. We have a spare one. If something went wrong, and we can change it. So
that's really cool.
Like 5 minutes ago.
If someone wanted more information about this, do you have a website or anywhere someone can go to?
Well, we have a website, but it's in progress, so there are not the information yet, but we would like to also put it as an open source. Also, we would like to put it as an open source on our website and put the information, so...
Look at that, that's great. Oh, that's perfect. Helena, thank you so much. We'll put the link in the description.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of Maker Faire.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, I've talked to this man before about FDM machines, about SLA machines. Now we're in Prague to talk to Joe. Hey, man.
Hello, everyone.
We're in this wonderful city of yours. I'm so glad we were able to make it. Thanks for letting us come out to Prague Maker Faire.
Yes, welcome here. So what did you like the most of the Prague so far?
What I've seen of Prague so far is the wonderful architecture of the buildings. It's amazing to see these structures that are probably older than my country. They look incredible, and the way that cities and the people have evolved around it to keep that in place, but have cars running around.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. You don't have the great streets and avenues. Everything is a little bit more curvy and three-dimensional. because back then there was no city planning for like cars and stuff, right? So
Right.
it's quite interesting, but we love it.
Well, and you grew up in Prague. You were born here, right?
I was actually born in a small village named Sedletín, which has like 150 people, and I moved to Prague like 10 years ago.
So you've called Prague home for 10 years.
Yes.
Maker Faire Prague is important because this is your home, obviously.
Yes, I mean, actually, Czech Republic, as we were part of USSR, during the communism, there were, we couldn't buy many things. So people were resourceful in a way that if you needed something, you just made it, right? So, for example, my grandfather, he built a tractor for his field from the scrap. After the Velvet Revolution, we got a lot of the influence from the West, and then it was another extreme that people thought, okay, the past we want to forget, so they didn't keep making much, and they were buying everything. But now, it's swing from one extreme to another, and now it's settling somewhere in the middle. So I think it's a perfect time to start promoting the maker culture and explain people that if you make something yourself, it's much more valuable, and you can make it custom for you. And the process is nice and enjoyable too.
And you're not doing this just because you made some 3D printers. You've been a maker all your life, haven't you?
Yes, I would say so. But in last 10, 15 years, it's the most. But that comes with the fact that when you start learning English, you get to read everything on the internet, and you get the ideas from the internet, because it was not very known, or it was still not very cool. But once I learned how to at least read English, I started to make.
And now that Prague Maker Faire is a thing, this is its second year, correct?
Yes, yeah.
It's been a huge boost to the community, hasn't it?
Yes, because there's a lot of makers which were they were doing stuff at their home, but they never thought that it would be interesting to show to someone else. They thought that people don't care. So basically, the first year, everybody was so amazed when they we convinced them to come here to show their project, and they were like, I don't know how to say, they were amazed how many people came and asked about their project, and it was a wonderful feeling.
Well, this is being the second year. Obviously, more amazement, more people. There's more people here, right?
We hope so. We don't have the numbers yet, but last year was 11,000 people, which is for Prague and first year, I would say it's pretty epic. We can fit to this venue. We can fit just very, very few more.
Looking to the future, then, Prague Maker Faire. This is a success. It's going to keep going. What do you envision the next few years for Prague Maker Faire? Do you think more people, more space, more projects? Do you have anything in mind?
I'm not sure if it would be a good idea to make it super huge. For example, if you look at the biggest fairs like Rome, then it starts to get too big if you want to absorb everything. So what we are doing here, that we try to choose different makers every year, so the fairs keep amazing every year, and you can see new stuff. Because sometimes, you get the feeling that you meet the same people, same projects at the fairs. So we want to keep it interesting, like with the music festival. You go to the music festival, but you see different stuff.
This is great. Joe, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming.
I appreciate it. I'll be back next year if you'll have me.
Awesome. Looking forward. Bye.
Prague was amazing, and Prague Maker Faire did not disappoint. It is easily apparent that the maker movement is alive and well. A big thanks to Joseph Prusa for bringing us out here, and if you're in Prague next year, I highly suggest you visit. Hey, if you made it this far, you're awesome. Don't forget to hug each other more. I love you all. Goodbye from Prague. High five.